Hello friends, and welcome to Gardening with Creekside. Today we are going to plant a couple of perennials. The garden center has officially closed, and I went through and pillaged and got some great perennials that our customers chose not to pick up. So it's all free game for Jenny, and so I had a lot of fun picking out two of my all-time favorite perennials. We're going to add them to the garden. These are evergreen perennials that just thrive in our North Carolina Zone 8A garden. And yeah, so we're going to do it. It is the end of the year, right? I mean, my gosh, end of December and January is right here. It is absolutely bananas. The beautiful thing about North Carolina is that we can garden essentially year round. So that is what we're going to do today. It's going to be a nice little simple little project, but it's going to give me year-round color and flowers and interest, and I am very excited about it. So we are standing here in the backyard. You can see we are just off of the garden shed. Of course, here's the path to the patio, just to give you a reference of where we are. We have these great tea olives here. This is a sweet osmanthus, and we use this as a screen for when you're looking from the patio out, then you don't see part of the garden shed. But I have this great section right here that is empty. And so we're going to go ahead and fill it in today. Well, like I said, two of my all-time favorite perennials, Ascot Rainbow Euphorbia. Y'all, if you don't have this in your garden, you are missing out. I love this evergreen, sun-loving. It is slightly shade tolerant, gorgeous, beautiful evergreen perennial that has beautiful foliage on it. You can see it has a little bit of tinge of pink in there. These are in the quart-size containers. And so it's gonna make it really easy to plant. I've got 15 of them. I don't know that I'm gonna use all 15 right here. Time will tell. So we've got the Ascot Rainbow, and to give you a little bit of the specs, so let me look at this because I don't remember as far as the growing zones on this. Okay, so hardy in zones at 6 to 9. It is a full sun to part sun, and it is the absolute best, most gorgeous evergreen perennial. It is a euphorbia, a spurge, so it tends to be more critter resistant because when you break this, it'll have like a white milky substance that comes out of it, like a sap, and it can be really sticky. It can be irritating to some people if you have really sensitive skin. It doesn't bother me, but it is sticky, and so that tends to make it more rabbit and deer resistant. This is going to be about 14 to 20 inches tall. Beautiful plant, especially when you do it in mass. Then we're going to come over here, and I have got the let me move around here. The sun is so much fun to film with in the winter time. Here we have the Alexander's White Evergreen Candy Tuft. Now, you may look at that and you're like, oh my gosh, Jenny, like that thing is just terrible looking. Well, it's not the best because it is in the container, and this is probably why customers passed up on it. But you have to understand the plant, my friends. So this is an evergreen candy tuft, and this is what it is doing. It will put on an absolute carpet of these pure white flowers. I have it just over there in the forest pansy bed. And again, when I picked up this plant and planted it for the very first time, so the ones that are over there at the forest pansy bed, I planted those because those were, quote, rescues from the nursery that nobody had gotten, and they were sad, pitiful plants, and I was like, I'm gonna try these. Oh my gosh. Then, now every spring when I do a video and y'all see it blooming, you're like, I want that plant. Well, you gotta get it, people. So the Alexander's White Evergreen Candy Tuft does do that pure white carpet of flowers. It is hardy in zones 3 to 9. It's only 8 to 10 inches tall. It'll get about 2 feet wide, and it needs more than 6 hours of sun each day. You are going to love this plant once you put it in the ground. Don't worry about what it looks like right now. It's okay. It'll fill out and it will be stunning. So we're going to use that in front of the euphorbia, and then we're going to wrap around here in front of the Japanese maple that loves the full sun. I had some perennial sedums right here, and it was just too wet because this bed is on irrigation, and so it drains and it gets too wet. The Alexander's White is going to love it. So we're going to plant it here and then kind of do a little bit of a swoosh and then come around here in front of the Ascot Rainbow. So as I always do when I am gardening, I've got my trusty garden belt with me because it has all my tools. I have got the Jenny's Edition. This is the 5-inch heavy duty tip because I'm going to need it, y'all. This soil right here is terrible. Yes, there is mulch on it, but it is some really red compacted clay soil. So using that 5-inch with that heavy duty tip, a little bit taller, 32 inches, so it doesn't hurt your back. So we're going to use that. The 5-inch is the perfect size to use for your grande annuals, your quarts, even your 1 gallons. 5-inch is the perfect way to do it. So this will go in nice and easy. Love that. And then of course I have got my biotone and my kneeling pad and my little pop-up in case I come across any weeds or anything that I need to toss away. So that is what we are going to do. So without further ado, we are going to place these out, figure out exactly the design, and then go ahead and get these babies in the ground. All right, my friends, as easy as that, we have added 2 of my all-time favorite perennials to the garden. We are adding layers to the garden. So this is what it looks like as if you were coming through the little path here at the patio. Of course, we've got the fountain right here, walking around. So you can see from this angle the job that those tea olives do, right? It is a beautiful, nice evergreen. Of course, we love the tea olives because they do those beautiful, fragrant flowers in the fall, through the winter, and into early spring. So from this angle, all you see is the roses. You've got some hydrangeas here, then you've got the tea olives. As we come around, this is when you begin to see that next layer because we have the Alexander's White right here. So these are going to fill in. They are spaced probably about 18 inches apart from one another right now. And remember, they can get 2 feet wide. So this is perfect because they're going to form this beautiful carpet right through here. Would be gorgeous underneath the Japanese maple. I've got a bloomerang dark purple lilac right here, and of course azaleas. So we're layering all of these different colors and textures and plants into the garden. And then as we come around, then this is where you're going to begin to see the Ascot Rainbow. And I am really excited in my brain, in my gardener's eye. This is going to be stunning because you're going to have the evergreen of the tea olives, right? Nice, big, thick, dark green, kind of glossy leaves to it. Then you'll have the Ascot Rainbow, which gets to be about 2 feet tall. Totally different texture, next layer down, very different colors, leaf structure, everything about the Ascot Rainbow is completely different than the tea olives. And then we come down another layer, and then you have that Alexander's White. Again, dark green, so you'll have that contrast. You already can see the contrast between these three plants, and then you'll have this carpet of white flowers underneath it. The vision is that the candy tuft will be one whole ribbon of white here. The Ascot Rainbow will be a continuous ribbon of that color and texture throughout. So you're not going to see really the individual plants. You're going to see them as a mass planting. For those of you that have been longtime followers of Gardening with Creekside, you know that Jerry and I built our house. We'll be in it 21 years the end of January, and we literally built our house in the middle of a field. There was nothing. There was not a tree, there was not a structure, there was not a flower bed, there was literally nothing. Now the trees, obviously all around us, those big mature trees, were here, but our 5 acres of where the house is was an open field. So we had to start from scratch, which I think sometimes is a lot harder when you have a complete blank slate as opposed to maybe something that already has some structure there, because you're trying to create those garden rooms. And that what was my goal here, was to create garden rooms. So when you're, on the back porch, that you don't feel like you're absolutely completely exposed to the whole wide open world. So that's why we've been bringing in the different trees and the shrubs and the perennials and everything. And that's why we also did with the tea olives. Yes, we have our little garden shed right here. It used to be the old chicken coop. We've moved the chicken coop up to the top of the hill, but we didn't want to see this all the time, right? And you can see, like, this is what we have our firewood in for the little smoke pit that we have on the patio. So we're creating these layers, and it takes some time, y'all, unless you have, gobs of money that you can just give yourself an instant landscape. We're not like that. Most people are not like that. So we put the bones in. The bones would be the tea olives and the roses and the Japanese maple. My camellias that I have here, right? They have the early wonders that have been here for, I think this is the 3rd season right now. They'll eventually get tall, but not right now. We're waiting. So you get your bones in, and then you can come back in and begin to put those layers in. And doing that great perennial that I have tons of experience with. I know they're going to do really well here. They both love the sun. This is a southward facing flower bed. So south is just right here. They're going to get tons of sun. Putting them in now is great because they're going to get all the rain that we get here in the wintertime. The ground was nice and moist, not sopping wet, but we're supposed to get like 2 more days of rain here coming up, so I don't need to water them because it's going to rain. They'll be fine. Their roots will get nice and established by the time the heat of the summer hits. While this bed does have drip irrigation on it, and there is drip irrigation that runs at the base of the tea olives, there's none right here per se. But since we are on a slope, if there is any water, it will shed this way and give them water. And if I need to water them, you can see right here at the garden shed, I have a hose, so it will not be hard to water them. And you can also see that these plants are very indestructible because Vanna here, as we call her, Miss Vanna, she does know where the camera is, decided to sit on a candy tuft. Hey bee, up you go. Up we go. Come on, up. There we go. So even a German Shepherd can sit on it and it'll still be fine. That's the great thing about the candy tuft, is that it's nice and low. And y'all, I tell people, if plants can survive in my garden, they can survive in your garden. With the thick red clay, oh my gosh. German Shepherd, I now have teenagers and young adults, but when we first started gardening, we definitely had babies. Give you an idea, also another way that you could possibly use your Ascot Rainbow is here in the container. We planted this container, gosh, a year ago. So this is one of the big aqua pots. These are just 2 traditional pots, so these are not aqua pots, but this is one of the larger aqua pots, and in it we have one of my also favorite. This is the Carex. This is the Feather Falls. This is one plant. We have the Ascot Rainbow right here. You can see it's got all those gorgeous colors to it, right? Stunning. Nice, and has branched out really well. Now you'll notice with the Ascot Rainbow, the top is looking fabulous, darling. But then when we get down here to the bottom, sometimes they can have some naked ankles. So what we'll do is we're just gonna leave it alone for now. And then when we come out of winter, typically your Ascot Rainbow will bloom. It's not, you don't grow it for the blooms. It does like this cluster of these little tiny like yellow flowers up at the top. It's semi-attractive, but you grow it for the foliage. So once it blooms, I'm gonna come in and I'll shear it down to the ground. That way we'll have brand new thick growth all the way up. I don't really want to prune it right now because we are in winter time, so I will wait until we are leaving winter, going into spring, going into the growing season, and then I can just shear it back and it'll bounce back really, really well. And then I think this might be a Cedar Rapids. I'm not sure. I never can remember what plant this is. I don't think it's a soft serve. I want to say it is a Cedar Rapids. But it'll get, I mean, it's a tree, right? It's a beautiful tree, but this pot really does anchor this whole little section right here and has done really well. Yes, it is an aqua pot. Yes, it has water in it. I've left it out and it's done well. So we're just going to let it grow. And then once the plants outgrow it and I can't keep any water in it, then we can take them out and plant them into the landscape. And then off we go. We'll plant the planter again. So if you ever come across the Ascot Rainbow and the Alexander's White Candy Tuft, you need to get it. We have it on the website. Of course, everything's pre-order right now, so you can go there and you can look for it. You should be able to find, like the Ascot Rainbow is very popular plant, so you should be able to find that pretty readily. Maybe not right now in the winter time, but come spring or the summer, if you see Ascot Rainbow, I'm telling you, it is one of my favorite plants because the color, the texture, it kind of has a little bit of a musky smell to it, which I personally find appealing, so I like that. And it's just so darn easy. I mean, don't we all want easy plants? I want easy plants. They give me color and texture. Rabbit deer resistant, because y'all know I've been struggling with the rabbits this past year. So the rabbits will leave it alone. And then there you go. We'll get gorgeous color structure, more layers to the garden. Remember, the more plants you add to the garden, the less weeding you have to do and the less erosion. So we want to keep putting those plants in, tucking them in little nooks and crannies so we don't have to weed as much and lay down as much mulch, right? All right, my friends, I think Brenda and I are going to go around and fill up some bird feeders because our birds are hungry here in the wintertime. So we're going to fill up some bird feeders, enjoy the sunshine while we've got it. And y'all have a great day. We'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.